All right, welcome everyone. I'm Elisa Velardo, Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Developmental Services, and welcome to our fourth Tuesday forum for March. Our topic today is customized supports through self-direction. And we have with us today some incredible presenters that have some incredible stories that they're willing to share. And we'll highlight the flexibility and the creativity of self-direction. We do have a number of presenters today, and so we'll go through the presentations. If you have a question, we'll hold questions until the end, but feel free to write your question in the chat. In the chat is that little bubble that looks like a thought bubble. And you can write any question or words of encouragement or thoughts that you have in the chat as the presentations are happening, but we will hold those questions until the end. And at that point, if you have a question and you'd like to speak, you can come on camera and raise your hand as well. So with that, I'm going to introduce our first presenter. Amy Blazowski, Self-Determination Director from the North Region, will share a little bit about self-direction, self-determination, and give us an overview. So welcome, Amy. And Amy, you are muted. But while we're waiting for Amy to join, I do want to share that the reason that we record these sessions is that we will make today's Fourth Tuesday Forum recording available on our website. We have all of the Fourth Tuesday Forums that have taken place over the last 2 years that are available on our website. I invite you to join, listen to any of the recordings, any of the materials that have been shared are available as well. And if somebody is not able to participate today, they're able, I would say by the end of this week, they'll be able to view the recording on our website. So welcome, Amy.
Thanks, Deputy Commissioner Velardo, and welcome everybody to today's forum. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about self-determination and self-direction. Currently, we have 3 self-determination directors in each of the regions of the state, 1 for each region. We support about 2,000 people that are self-directing at this time, and we really have a focus on making self-direction an option for people to really look at their supports and services and have more control over the services that they use. I'm going to share my screen at this point and just give you a little bit of a background about what we know and how to get started. I'm not going to be able to see the chat, so if people do have questions, you can put that in the chat and we will address those after. Can everybody see my screen?
We still see you,
Yes.
Amy.
You can see the PowerPoint?
Do you see the PowerPoint? I just see Amy.
No PowerPoint.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Let me just try to reshare here. All right. And you should be able to see this pop up. So again, just let me know if you can see this.
It's slowly
can see it.
coming up. Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So, all right. So, when we say self-determination and self-direction, there's actually a difference. And I'm going to just quickly explain what the difference is. So self-determination is a value. It's sort of a concept that we use when we talk about people learning about their basic rights, using knowledge to broaden their experiences, to use new experiences to make informed choices about whether it's work or their home situation or finances or their supports, their services, really anything that people need to make decisions about in their life. And it's really about taking greater control and authority around those life choices. We have four basic principles of self-determination, and that's freedom, authority, responsibility, and being able to exercise self-determination in your life and with those choices. We talk about respect and dignity, and we use that catchphrase, whatever it takes, because we like to look at the dream first and then sort of look, work backwards in some cases. We want people to have the right to direct their own future, and again, to have the most control that they can. Again, whatever it takes. So we look at some outcomes that we'd like for people to experience, and that would be self-awareness, self-advocacy, confidence, being able to look at the things that you need. So self-evaluation when it comes to the things that you might need to bring some of those goals to fruition. And then, of course, self-management and looking at goals, always super important. So now let's talk about what self-direction is, as it's a bit different than self-determination in that self-direction is really the path that you're taking. It's a way to exercise self-determination. And this is actually when you're doing the work, all right? So you're being self-determined and you're going to self-direct your supports and services. This is where your feet hit the ground, right? So we're looking at sort of an option for people to hire, fire, manage their employees, look at the waiver menu, as I call it, to choose certain and specific services or goods that you may need to make that path to self-direction positive and something that really works for you. We want people to have self-direction at the forefront of taking greater control over those services. And really, who provides the services? Having that choice is really important. The big responsibility issue and authority comes in when we talk about managing the services and supports, right? So for people that self-direct, they start with having a budget afforded to them through the department, and that would be commensurate with their lawn. In some cases, there's some flexibility. But you'll have the opportunity to look at some of the supports and services that most closely meet your needs. And I can give you an example. Some individuals may want to hire a individualized goods and supports supervisor to help them to hire, train, fire employees, especially if it's somebody that is looking for perhaps many staff coming in at different times. But that's just one example. We look toward making sure that a case manager can assist with explaining all of the steps that would occur in the responsibility to self-direct. We always use a person-centered planning model when we look at what a person might need in their constructing that creative plan. And we are looking at sort of a timeline here. So I'm going to briefly share sort of where to start with some of the basics. So once an individual chooses to self-direct, there are two main, I guess, catchphrases that we should really know, and that would be an employer of record and a sponsoring person. So an employer of record, when you're self-directing, you would become, or some representative may become an employer of record, because remember, you're going to be doing the hiring. So you are the employer and you are the boss. A sponsoring person, when we hear that phrase, or a representative, may be a person that can assist with some of those detailed responsibilities that come along with hiring and firing. So some of those responsibilities might be looking at an agreement for self-direction, and maybe looking that over with an employer of record, or maybe somebody that's helping the individual as the employer of record. They look at an agreement form. They may have applications to review. They might sign, well, they have to sign employee timesheets, making sure that they're done through an electronic system that we call electronic visit verification. And just to make sure that they're accurate and that they reflect the services that are needed and that are described in that person's plan. Without getting too in the weeds here, this is just a kind of a steps to get started. So you would work with a case manager to get some basic information about self-direction. You would look at the agreement, which lays out all of those responsibilities that a employer of record or a representative would need to know about. We have several different resources on our website that you can look at under self-determination and self-direction, as well as a few videos. Then you would look to review the agreement. A fiscal intermediary, another kind of catchphrase that we use for that entity that is in the middle of DDS and the person that is self-directing. So they would issue like payroll and get your people paid. So they're sort of like the middle. So you go through them for all those fiscal and financial types of activities that come along with self-directing. So after that, I'm just gonna kind of skip over these. After that, you would look at finding your employees, choosing them. So you would do an interview, right? To choose who you'd like to work with you. You offer the job. And then your main goal is just keeping employees, making sure that staff are managed in the way that you feel they would operate best in your home. And that means establishing certain expectations, certain rules. It is true that finding employees is sometimes difficult, but you really want to develop an employee job description that kind of outlines what you need first. So that sort of gives you the broad overview. And I'm gonna wrap up quickly because I know that I need to keep with time here. I think I heard that we're going to be hearing a little bit from Rewarding Work that can help with recruitment techniques, which is great. It's a great resource, and we have a Connecticut page just for Rewarding Work. The context for self-direction is myself in the North region, Denise Palladino in the South, and Chelsea Houston in the West region. And with that, I will hand it back over to Deputy Commissioner Velardo. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you for that great overview. And if you stop sharing, we'll put the agenda back up, and I'll introduce our next presentation. And this is amazing because as we talk about, Amy, you're still screen sharing. As we talk about self-direction, and we talk about the flexibility to really chart your own course, I love what our next presenter did in developing his presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to Kate Johnson. And Kate, if you could just introduce Alexi and how he chose to share his story.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm happy to do so. So Alexi is a young man who graduated from high school about 4 years ago, and he had very distinct vision for what he would like to do for his adult life. And it was very unique to him. And the self-determination, self-direction model was the best way to meet his needs. So together with his mom and dad, he came up with a very unique and very customizable life and activities that he does during the day. And he's going to much more eloquently than I can explain what he does, but I can tie in the piece of self-direction. So Alexi hires his own staff. And in creating the support budget for his staff, he included a number of activities that he'll talk about in his presentation. But the beauty of self-direction is that you really can pay for some unique things that we don't offer routinely in our service delivery system. So he does things like he has a line in his budget to rent a golf cart for a month out of the year so that he can learn how to drive. And the idea being that eventually he'll be able to transfer those skills to an actual vehicle. He's a member of a co-op, an artist co-op, where he goes with his support staff and works on his art amongst the artisans there. He does adaptive skiing up in, I believe, I'm not sure it's in Vermont or New Hampshire, but he has somebody that's been giving him lessons, adaptive skiing lessons. So he has a very unique, really great life, and he uses his budget to support that. So without further ado, I'm going to attempt to share my screen. This is my first time doing this, so please bear with me, including sound. All right, and I also have to run an audio component. I'm going to start over, and hopefully I can align this perfectly. Oop. I'm sorry. I want to play it over. Here we go.
We're not hearing anything, Kate.
Uh-oh. I'm so sorry. I'm going to share again and make sure that the audio works. Here we go. All right, let's try this again.
Hi, my name is Alexi. How are you? I transitioned to self-direction almost 4 years ago. I will share a list of some of my activities that I typed up to go with the pictures. My program focus is communication, working toward independence, I select and type with different apps to be able to talk out loud. It is called Alternative Augmentative Communication, also known as AAC. I use a 15-button per page layout with a special keyboard linked to each page. I made a job listing to help hire staff for self-direction. I go for a walk at the park often, but I don't go by myself. Here are some of the places I go. Sometimes I go to a gym to do exercises. I choose equipment with AAC. I like to use the elliptical trainer, treadmill, and more. I work different muscles. For example, I do bicep curls. I also ride my bicycle, scooter, swim in the ocean, kayak and alpine or cross-country ski depending upon the season. I started practicing driving a golf cart. I do relief prints on a small press and silk screen printing. I enter my artwork for exhibitions and sale in galleries. I also weave on different looms. I like to go to museums. I like to go to outdoor concerts in the summer. I eat out at different restaurants even though I'm on a special diet for my epilepsy. I volunteer to do office work. I shred paper and I also set tables with plate, glass, napkin, fork, knife and spoon. I attend a weekly book club on Zoom with other AAC users who live in California, Colorado, Michigan, New York and Virginia. We have read almost a dozen books. I type notes with support while the book is being read so I remember. We use Bookshare.com. Here are some of the titles. Boys in the Boat, Life on Our Planet, Being Human, Atomic Habits and Nature's Best Hope. I participated in a One Book, One Region discussion with local public libraries about the disabilities activist Judith Heumann. Now we are reading Helen Keller's autobiography. I do chores like food prep for cooking and cleaning. I make the bed and vacuum. I go to the bank, post office and food shopping. I try to be helpful, working toward independence. Everything takes hard work and persistence. It's important also to have good dedicated support staff. And have fun. I type this independently with proximal support only, working continually for approximately 2 hours. This is a total of 330 words, 27 sentences. I keep track to help me make progress. The visual part of this presentation was worked on with additional support. Thank you for this opportunity.
And that is all about Alexi's customized day program.
Thank you so much, Kate. And I was just blown away. Alexi, when we asked if he would present, took some time and then shared this presentation that he created. And I don't think we could ask for a better example of self-determination and just really capturing what is possible. So I know he was not able to join us today, but if you can please let him know that the work that he put into that presentation and his willingness to share how he self-directs is very, very much appreciated. All right.
Absolutely.
So our next presenter is Lauren Sheehy from Rewarding Work. For those of you who do self-direct, you may have some familiarity with Rewarding Work. And I will turn it over to Lauren to share a little bit about how Rewarding Work can be used to identify trusted caregivers. So welcome, Lauren.
Thank you so much. Yes, what a tough act to follow. Thank you so much to Alexi for sharing his story and for Amy for setting us up so well. I'm Lauren Sheehy, the Customer Success Manager for Rewarding Work. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to just share how Rewarding Work can support you in your efforts to connect with care in your area. I will have a copy of these slides, and we also have a recording of this presentation that will be shared with you after. So don't have any worries about capturing all this information all at once. It'll be available to you. And we also have lots of how-to help and frequently asked questions outlined on our website, rewardingwork.org. So I'm going to do a brief overview of our product and tool and give you a little web demo, and hopefully it's enough to just get you started. So a little bit more about Rewarding Work. Our mission is to assist people with disabilities and their families, making it possible for them to live at home or in the community of their choice by connecting them with the care when and where they need it. We were established in 2004, and we were the first web-based matching service directory of its kind in the nation for individuals with disabilities of all ages and elders who are self-directing care. We're focused on providing tools as well as knowledge to find and hire support that fits your unique needs. And this includes self-direction as well as respite care needs. We're a shared online platform with partnerships in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Kansas currently, allowing individuals of all needs to access a trusted matching service directory. And thanks to our partnership with Connecticut, we are free to all individuals and families receiving services through CTDDS. We also have been an affiliate of TIL Inc. in Dedham, Massachusetts since 2018. Rewarding Work helps to connect you with care in the following ways. It's specialized. It supports self-direction by allowing you to select the types of care that you need. It's local. You can filter and search your area, and we also perform targeted recruitment and promotion efforts for candidates in the area. We're flexible. We offer you 2 ways to hire, both through our job board tool and our applicant directory. Additionally, we feature automatic notifications for new applicants in the area and when an applicant applies for the posted position. And we offer support. We're a resource you can trust, having a long-standing relationship with CTDDS, organizations and agencies supporting care for those in need. And we offer personal and responsive customer support Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here's a little bit more about our website and our tool. Our website is mobile friendly, ADA compliant, translatable into many languages, has helpful resources that provide a wealth of information on best practices, interviewing and hiring tips, respite care, and can direct you to some outside resources. Additionally, we have a personalized landing page just for Connecticut. Our tool includes a personalized dashboard to help navigate the site, a powerful search engine to customize and filter searches, has an easy-to-use job board that lets employers save and edit their job postings, a secure database. Only Rewarding Work subscribers have access to the job applicant contact information. And we also have automatic functions to maintain active applicants for 90 days and job postings for 30 days. Some additional features that we offer include automated notifications on applications to posted jobs, new applicants in the area, and reminders about your subscription status. We have new and updated applicants labeled in the directory with indicators, as well as a variety of video tutorials on how to use the tool. So here's an overview of how it works. There are 2 steps to get started. You'll create an account and then select a subscription. Then you'll have access to the applicant database and be able to post your job on our job board. You'll review profiles of candidates and then reach out to them directly, interview, and then circle back to hire. Just a reminder, as an employer using Rewarding Work, your information remains confidential at all times and will not be visible to applicants. Rewarding Work is always free for job seekers, and we offer 3 subscription options for employers. We offer the free 12-month renewable subscription for individuals and families receiving Connecticut DDS services. Your access code is CT-DDS Connect. Your subscription includes access to the applicant directory and 5 job postings per month. We also offer an individual subscription for those seeking to self-direct care for other funding sources, as well as an agency subscription to support recruitment needs, which includes up to 5 employee accounts. As a reminder, we never auto-renew. So now let's take a look at how to get started. So I'm just going to switch screens here. So you're going to go to our website when you're ready to get started, rewardingwork.org. And as I mentioned before, our website has a lot of great resources under the employer tab. You'll get all your information on how it works, some useful tips about interviewing and hiring, any frequently asked questions, as well as a customized Connecticut page for employers. As I mentioned before as well, we're also translatable into many different languages for accessibility. And then when it's time to get started, you'll come and click sign up. I need to hire. You'll enter your email address, select a password. Just some suggestions to make it stronger. You'll enter your contact information, which is just for internal use in case we have to contact you. It's never visible to applicants. It's a great idea to set up notifications and let us know how you heard about us. Be sure to agree to the terms and conditions and select that you're not a robot to create your new account. The next step's really important so that you'll be able to access the contact information in our directory. You have to subscribe. So because you have a free access subscription, because you're receiving services through Connecticut DDS, you're going to come down here and click this green link, have an access code. Your access code is CT-DDS Connect. You'll click continue. And then you'll see your dashboard. So this is your home base. It has everything you need when you sign in. And in the future, when you come back to sign into the tool, you're going to be signing in up here in the right-hand corner. When we were signing up in the corner here, it said sign up. Now that we're logged in, you'll see your name, And if you need to log in, it'll say log in here. So this is your access to the tool is always up in the right-hand corner, and the rest of the resources on the website are across the menu here. So you'll land on your dashboard and you'll see that these are the two most important pieces of information that we house here on the tool. It's our job posting tool and our applicant search directory, as well as you'll have access to your account with different information about your profile. If you needed to change your email or password, you'd find that here. And when it comes time, you'll update your subscription history here. But I just want to take a few minutes to show you our two most important features so that you have a sense of how to use them. And then I would be happy to jump back in, take a look at the comments to see if you have any questions. The best way to really let us know that you're actively using Rewarding Work to hire, because you might have an active subscription for the year, you might not always be looking to hire, is to post a job on our job board. So from your dashboard, if you click post a job, it'll bring you to the job posting function where you'll just make a little memo to yourself here. This is for internal use only. Perhaps you're hiring maybe for a couple different shifts. So you might just want to make a note to yourself that this is for your day shift. You have a couple different pre-filled boxes here that are required, the type of work, the age of the client that you're looking to hire for, your location, and then some optional boxes. The most important piece here is really adding a lot of detail to exactly what you're looking for in this description box here. The more detailed you can be about what you're looking for, the better candidates, the better fit, and the less filtering and screening that you're going to have to do. So I love to offer a little bit of advice here about adding a bit of a description about the individual, what a day in the life might look like, and especially if there's something specific that this individual will need to be assisting or providing, adding information about shifts, the team, specific skills can be really helpful. When you add just a couple basic sentences here, it can be really hard for the job candidate to know whether this is a good fit for them, and it leaves them kind of just wanting more, which is just going to be more work for the two of you. So more information is better. Get really clear and specific about what you need. You'll save the job posting and then it'll go live on our job board. So on the other end, when a job seeker creates an account and has their profile up, then they'll be able to come and search on our job board and look for individual jobs. And if they're interested, they'll apply, and you will get an email notification that they have applied with a link to their profile, which you can review on your own, and then it's up to you on whether you want to reach out to that candidate or not. So let's just go back to the dashboard real quick, and I'll show you our other important feature, which is our applicant directory. So you'll click search caregivers, and you'll be able to do a zip code search in your area. You can also add a few more filters.
I can't hear you. I can hear you now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you're just having a little headphone issue.
Okay.
So we have some additional filters for our applicant search directory. You can search for experience with specific disabilities. You can search for experience in caregiving roles, as well as driver's license, willing to transport in their own vehicle. And then of special interest for Connecticut, we added interest in the individual goods and services supervisor role. And we know that there are specific requirements for that role. So we've also asked candidates and have it listed filtering whether they have these things or not. So obviously start with a few at first and filter to kind of see the results, but we just wanted you to know that you have all of that searchability there with different shifts and certifications, age group. And that will filter your list for you to take a look at the candidates. If you're interested in learning more about someone, you'll be able to pull up their profile. This is the contact information that they've provided to you. Willing to provide willing to have agreed to doing a background check. They're letting you know which contact information is the best, sharing a bit more about their experience, have added a personal statement, and many will also include a resume, which you can open that will pop out separately. So this is the candidate information for you. You'll go ahead, if they look good, you'll reach out to them directly and start your interviewing process. And to get back to your dashboard, you're always going to navigate up into the right-hand corner. These are just some quick links to those two spaces I just showed you to post a job. This is the search caregiver applicant directory, and then this is your dashboard here. So that's a super quick look. I'm going to stop sharing there and just jump and take a look in the questions and see if there is anything specific for me. It doesn't look like it right now, but feel free to ask any questions. We also, as I had mentioned, will make sure that we have this presentation and our user guide available to you. And I'm the point person for all customer support inquiries. So if you send an email or a message on the website or call our phone number, you'll be speaking directly with me. I'm happy to help you with creating an account, getting your free subscription organized, and also to counsel you if you need any support on your job posting. And of course, as always, if you're having any issues or have any feedback, please let us know, because our goal really is to support you to find the care that you need. So if we can be of help with recruiting in your area or helping to promote your job posting, that's why we're here.
Well, thank you so much, Lauren. Every time I have a demo of rewarding work, I learn something new. And thank you for providing this resource to help identify qualified staff and good matches. So if you're able to join us, we may have some questions at the end if you're able to stick around. All right. Our next presenters on Margot and Angie. Are you here?
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
How are you? So Allison is here as the case manager for Angie, and we are going to turn it over.
She's on.
She's on?
Yeah. She's
You want to give her?
camera. Hey, Angie, can you turn on your camera?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well, welcome, Angie.
Thank you.
There you are.
Angie.
Hi.
So Angie has self-directed for many years at this point. She self-directs her residential and her day staffing. I think we've worked together for the past couple of years, but she's always drafted her own job postings, utilizes like community colleges, boards, things like that to find new staff. She interviews her staff, does all the work with the fiscal intermediary, just really takes the lead with it. So now if Angie wants to talk a little bit about her experiences.
Yeah, sure. I did have to say I started self-hiring after high school. So I did wanted to tell like everyone that I had a really good experience with self-hiring. I do go through colleges around Connecticut to find my support. 'Cause I think that like kind of important, like to find a college student to help me through like where I work. Yeah, so that basically like I can't not say anything bad about this, like the self-hiring.
So, and your staff, they work with you. So like your day staff, they will sometimes pick you up, drive you to work, stay with you during your work day. And then if there's any like events outside of your normal work hours, sometimes your staff would be with you for those too.
Yeah, like that would be my job course.
Angie, what do you do for work?
I work at Special Olympics.
Fantastic. What are some of the things you do that your support staff help you with?
At the job or outside of the job?
Well, we'll start with work first, and then you can tell us all the exciting things you do residentially or at home.
They help me at the job, on the job. They help me proof. They help me proofread emails, help me do PowerPoint presentation. They help me get ready for like big training days. Like I had a training with my health managers like in February. They literally helped me with that. So they helped me with that, and also they also helped me offsite. Like we have 4 big like events like during the year, so they come to that and help me like set up venues, um set up venues, set up the display. They help me like day to wide to get me settled in, and that like basically what my day support does. My personal like day support basically helps me like take me out grocery shopping, take me out and like do some errand for my mom with um and also I also try to like get outside and like walk the dog um and that stuff.
That sounds really good. And a lot of fun too. And it doesn't sound like you need a lot of work with the computers or anything like that. You're pretty good at getting on here.
My Sebastian Olympic use a lot of Teams, so
Oh, okay, great. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the paperwork that you do when you're hiring your staff? Do you have assistance with that, or are you all independent?
I do need assistance sometimes with the hiring, but when it comes down to it, I still need a little assistance from my mom, like to help, like to explain to them like how the GTI works. Um, and like how the paper works and like how long it would take. So I know GTI is like different from Sunset Shores. So yeah.
That sounds really great. So you, at least you know that you have somebody in your corner supporting you for the things that you can't do 100% independent. You have your mom for that help.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you want to let everybody know about in regards to self-directing your services? I know you love it. I know you've been doing it for a while, but anything else you can tell anybody on this call today?
No.
I had one question for you, Angie. When I got a little bio on you that talked about the fact that you've been doing this for a while, and that you talked about since high school, and you mentioned that you go to the community colleges to look for college students. And I saw that you do your own interviews, and I wondered, what do you look for when you're trying to find somebody that will be a good match for you? What are some of the things you look for when you're interviewing people?
Basically the background on the computers, because I normally work on computer like all day. So I looked like I literally like had really good like interview when I was job interviewing for my recent job coaching, and I they literally looked at everyone and everyone like personal background and see who is going to be the most qualified for the computer. So that's how I determined that.
That makes a lot of sense. And the other question I had is, do you have somebody that you've hired that you've worked with for a long time?
Yes, but technically, she only works with me like 6 months out of the year. But um, but I really like her.
That is awesome. Does she go somewhere else during the
Yeah,
other 6 months?
she lives in New Hampshire.
You know, that is not uncommon, I think, to have, I think self-direction has flexibility so that those kind of arrangements are possible. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. All right. Um, if somebody were thinking about self-directing, do you have any words of wisdom? Any advice you would give? Oh, did I freeze? Can you hear me, Angie?
Yes.
Oh, if someone were thinking about self-directing and they weren't sure if it was right for them, do you have any advice you would give?
I have a hard question for me to answer just because I think if someone really want to get into it and don't know how to, I would definitely call DDS and like DDS and try to get involved in it. I haven't heard anything bad about self-direct. So, um, I think it is really good for other people to know like how to get involved.
I think that would be great. I think that would be great advice to give to somebody that was thinking about self-directing. All right. I think so. We have one more presenter. So if Angie, if you can stay on, we have one more presenter, but I know that as things go, she was busy with the afternoon transportation, and so I'm not sure if she's been able to join us yet. Is Nancy on the call? All right. She had let us know that she was running a little late, and so she would not be getting back until sometime around 4 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the chat. There are a couple questions here, and we'll run through the questions, and hopefully by that time Nancy will have joined us. So let's see. One of the questions was around support for GTI as the newer. We just had our 1-year anniversary fiscal intermediary, and we do have an identified point person if there's an issue with GTI that needs some support. There's the GTI customer service, but if that's not worked, we have Joseph Carvalho, and I put his contact information
There you are.
in the chat. He is, oh, we have somebody that is off mute, but he is the point person for any GTI concerns that need support. So feel free to reach out to him. All right.
Muted.
I am on.
Oh,
you hear me now?
Nancy. I can. I realized I muted myself, and I'm not sure how far back I muted myself. Nancy, I can hear you. Are you able to turn your camera on?
Okay, here's my camera.
All right.
Can you see me now?
Now you're off, though.
Can you see me now?
I'm sorry, I keep muting myself. I can see.
I'm trying them
I'm
there. Can you
sorry.
hear me now?
I can see you, yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you too. I don't know if you remember, we met one another several years back. You invited me over to come visit your home, probably 8 or 9. I keep somebody keeps muting me, so I apologize. And I always, it gave me a great sense of what could be possible through self-direction. And so I asked particularly if you might be able to join us today, because it has always stayed with me how you use self-direction to meet. So I will turn it over to you. And if there is somebody that keeps muting everyone, for some reason I keep being muted. And so I hope that does not happen to you, Nancy. But I'm going to turn it over to you. And if you could describe a little bit about how self-direction works for your family, I would love to hear that.
Okay. I have to apologize. Today was one of those bonkers days. It just was so difficult. So can you see me and hear me?
We can see you and hear you, and no worries. It worked out,
Okay.
the timing worked out just perfectly.
Okay. Many apologies. Well, it's nice to see you again. It is one of those days where so many things went on that it got a little confusing. And so I apologize. I'm usually, yeah, I'm usually very, very punctual and go to my appointments on time, so I'm embarrassed, so I apologize.
I'm Robert, and I kept telling her it's next week, so I'm half to blame.
No worries at all. We're nothing if we're not flexible.
Okay. All right. So for those of you who don't know anything about our family, we have parented 40 kids over the years, and over the last, say 18 months, 4 of our children have passed away. But they came home when they were little, and they were in their late 40s. And in their late 30s. And so we considered their lives very special, and they really blessed our family. They were very medically complex. We began with DCF many, many years ago in 1972, actually. And our first son came from a hospital for special care, and he was from New York. And we fell in love with the whole concept of being able to parent kids that were mostly institutionalized or weren't able to be with their families. And so we got really excited about that whole process. But we really believed that we would like to be able to support other families, and that's what our commitment has been all these years. DDS has been absolutely wonderful to deal with. The whole self-direction program has really been a gift. Initially, we were using agencies to get services for our family. And one of our girls, whose name is Heather, she's just a riot. She came home when she was 2 years old, needed an extra shower, and they wouldn't let the person who was caring for her do the extra shower. And I said, that's it, I'm done with this. We can't do this. This is not fair. It's not respectful. So we ended up eventually developing this wonderful relationship with DDS and letting the kids direct their care. And it's been awesome because they have really had such a high quality of life because of this whole process. They're able to have the people that they want to care for them. They're able to do things that they never were able to do before. And I can't tell you what a blessing it's been. I wish each one of them could tell you how special it's been. It's been really wonderful. We've had some of the neatest supporters from the agency because they've been so understanding of what the kids need. And I would strongly encourage anybody, don't ever consider having 40 kids though. That's like nutty. I celebrated my 80th birthday yesterday. So I think this was payback today for being crazy.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm trying to think of what would be the most meaningful to the families that are listening. Has there been some questions that have been really
There
would be
are
really important to answer?
and I know your family is not the typical family, and
Right.
and I just want to offer my condolences for the loss of your
Thank you.
children. But in terms of people that do have complex medical needs, what do the supports look like? What kind of supports do you have in your home?
Okay. Our first boy who came home who was so medically complex needed to be on a ventilator. And they had to build a ventilator back then because they didn't have home ventilators. Since that first child, Julio, we've had 6 kids on ventilators. And it's demanding, but we were able to get some nursing services. And we personally trained some people to learn how to take care of some of the medical needs, suctioning and G tubes and J tubes. Back in those days, only nurses could do it. But over the years, families have learned how to care for their kids who have such, medical complexities. One of our boys, he had a central line, and we had to learn how to take care of his central line because he was on TPN. At that time, they only did that in the hospital. And so they trained us how to do it, and we did. I was scared to death. I'm not gonna lie. But when you love your kids, you're gonna do whatever you have to give them quality of life. And we really believe that it's really important for them to have a family, to be with their family. Children belong to families. They don't belong in institutions. And we have seen tremendous changes over the years. I still think we have some work to do with it. But I do believe that a lot of families want to keep their kids home. They don't want to place them in institutions. And this is a wonderful program for that because you can get the supports you need and you can direct with your child what they need and what kinds of activities they can be involved in. Our kids get to go to dances, they get to go to movies. They've even gone to the Big E because we're able to have them go with somebody. And and the most amazing thing is they've developed relationships with these people. And so they become very close and they care about one another. And I love that. Brian, who was born without any eyes, has his favorite people, that come in and take care of him. And he worries about them if they're not well or if something's going on in their family. They're so connected. And so it's really been a wonderful experience for each one of them. And for me as mom, to watch what has developed. I mean, our oldest at home is Dale, and he's 55. He came home with these when he was 6, but he has just loved being able to do the things that he wants to do. Where in the past he wasn't able to do it. So he really is directing his life, and he's experiencing quality. I always remember Bobby, who had myotonic dystrophy, ended up on a ventilator because he had so many medical complexities. And one day my husband brought a frog in the house and he put a frog on Bobby's head. And we had a nurse there that day and she said, "You can't do that." And my husband said, "Why not? He's a boy. Let him have the experience." And everybody joined in that. And we laughed and we had a lot of fun. It was really special. And on a sad note, Bobby ended up developing hepatitis because of the TPN that he was on for a long time. But we were able to have him at home, and we set up a table in his room, and we had tea, and people spent time with him, and it was the most loving, caring experience because people had connected with him, and it was this wonderful relationship. That's not what it would have been in the past if we didn't have this kind of experience. So it's exciting to me. It's painful. I'm not going to lie, because some of the kids really had, but we know that they had a wonderful life. Each one of them had a wonderful life because of this. So
I know walking into your home, you can immediately feel the love and it's just a really warm, welcoming environment. And I really appreciate you being willing to share your story. And there is one question in the chat, and you might be able to speak to this. When you're hiring somebody, how do you know how much to pay them?
Oh, boy, I'll tell you, it's very challenging today. Because, well, first of all, I believe anybody who's a caregiver is underpaid, I mean, and generally speaking. But I go a lot by how the kids react. I can tell, and also our dog, believe it or not, our little dog, she loves people. And if she's not comfortable with somebody, she's never mean, but she'll stay away from them, But I usually will go by what some of the kids' reactions are. How do they interact? It's really important when somebody comes into the house to be interviewed, to see if they're going to work. We want them to meet the kids and see how the kids react, because they're the best judges of character, And I have had several experiences where a person has come in, and within the first week, we know that they don't have a heart for what we're doing. And it just doesn't work out. And that has happened on a number of occasions. There's other people. We have an aide who's been with us for 35 years. 35. She started with nursing agencies, and she's only a year and a half younger than me. And she's been through so many experiences with the family. And some of our aides come back that have left, and they become, like, we have these big celebrations for all the holidays. They come back and they're part of the family, and the kids are so excited to see them because we try to welcome them and have them be part of the family. And our home, when we have a meal, everybody sits at the meal. I grew up in an Italian family, so it's really important, So that, because for me, mealtime was always a part for everybody to socialize. And so they tell their stories to one another, and I think that's really important. And if they can't do that, then they don't belong in your home. They have to be a part of the family. They're not just a caregiver, they're really part of the family. And that's what makes the kids feel so comfortable.
I remember that big table in your kitchen.
Yeah, true, we have too, right?
And again, it's part of that welcoming environment. And I imagine that your family is not only your large family, but your extended family of all the people who have connected with your family over the years.
Yeah, we feel it's been a tremendous blessing. I remember when your deputy commissioner came for dinner one night to see the family, because he had heard so much about it. And well, I guess he's the commissioner now, but he was the deputy back then. He came and he was sitting at the table, and he said, "You know what's so impressive?" He said, "You've taken what you received, and it's not a lot, but," he said, "you really made this a family. It's not a small institution." And we were very committed to having that happen, because again, I think children belong in families. And of course, now I don't have any children. My youngest now is 38. Scott came home when he was 2, So, but they're still our kids.
They're always your children.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that I thought it was important to share your story is because there still are kids that, are in hospital settings because of their medical needs. And just to share what might be possible, and your vision for kids growing up in a family home is, I think you say it's been a blessing to you, but it's been a blessing to others, and it shows what can be possible. And I know it's been an enormous amount of work for you, and probably worry over the years, but what you have given has been just invaluable and immeasurable, and I really appreciate you sharing your story.
They're so special. They're just so special, every single one of them. I would strongly encourage parents to go for it. Don't be afraid, I mean, there's so much to be received and so much you can give when you keep your children in your home with the supports that you need. You don't want them to be institutionalized. I know it's difficult. We ended up with one of our daughters her medical needs became so complex that we couldn't keep her on a home vet, and she ended up in a hospital, and it was awful. She cried all the time. She wanted to be home with her family, and so did the kids at home. They cried because they missed their sister so much, so yeah. I felt right from the beginning when we started in 1972 that I always wanted to support families, and say, what, we can do shared parenting, we can do that. Don't be afraid, you can do it. You do it out of love for your child or your children, for whatever. You do it out of love, and you're gonna do it. So I don't know who I'm speaking to, but I hope you believe me when I tell you that it's a gift.
Oh, you have a lot of friends in the audience. I see that, and we have some DDS staff. We have some other people that self-direct, and we have some advocates and some people who I think probably are considering self-direction. I don't see any other questions in the chat, and so I would ask, does anybody have questions for Nancy? And I did want to share in the chat, Angie, if you're still on, we've got some thumbs up and appreciation for what you shared, and I know Alexi's presentation as well. Do we have any questions for Nancy or any of our other presenters?
I see some of the message. This is Tom's wife I'm listening to, and I just want to say, okay, I didn't hear the rest, see the rest of it.
How validating and how inspiring you are. Thank you so much. There is a question. How do you find good people?
It's tough. We've run many ads. I've found that a lot of times it's by word of mouth. One of the people that's been with us or a friend will say, I know somebody who might, and those always end up being the better choices. We have gotten a few people from ads, but most of them have been by word of mouth, and they come and I always can tell. You just have to trust your intuition. That it's the right thing. And like I said, use your kids to tell you whether that person is going to work out or not. But you got to develop a relationship. It can't be just a person coming into work. It's more than that. It really is, because they have to really care. And I always say, if you don't have a heart for what you do, then you're not gonna make it. You have to have a heart for what you do, and you can tell those people. It's pretty obvious within the first week, but it is hard to find good people, especially in this environment. There's
always thought your advice that referrals are the best candidates, because people who already have a relationship with your family and they know what the work is can, they can identify somebody that has those same values. So I've often thought that referrals are a really good start.
When we first started, the people who had worked for us through the agencies, through the nursing agencies, were asked if they wanted to continue, with this self-direction. And those people who said yes, that they wanted to, we had to go through the whole new interview process, and then we let people know that we were looking for other people to come in, and we would sit and we would talk. And as I said in the beginning, the first week, you can usually tell. You can usually tell if they're going to be comfortable, and your kids are going to tell you. Your kids are going to say.
There's a question. Do you have the staff you hire come in and meet your family a few times to see if they're a good fit?
We do a training process, when they first come in, and we watch and we see if they feel like they're comfortable. It's really important. Sometimes they'll say, well, I can do this and I can do that, and you find out fairly quickly that they can't. Especially if you have a daughter or a son who needs a lot of physical care, some people just can't do it. You know, they have to be comfortable with it. And even lifting or turning or moving or getting into a wheelchair or putting into a stander, you know, those kinds of things are challenging for some people. They think they can do it and they can't. And if they can't, you know, you give them a little bit of time and try to show them, but you can see fairly quickly if they're not capable of doing it. And then so you know it's not the right fit. And it's disappointing because you really get excited when you find a person that's going to be able to do it, you know. But,
Yeah.
you know, trust your instincts. You need to trust your instincts.
Well, we have a lot of hearts and a lot of appreciation, you know, amazing story. I can't think of how we could end on a more positive note. And Nancy, for you to join us the day after your birthday, hopefully this has been enjoyable for you, but what you've given to us is really appreciated. So thank you
I
so
love
much.
telling our story. Thank you. I love telling our story because it's so special. And listen, it's been my blessing. They have blessed me beyond anything I could ever imagine because they're such beautiful human beings.
You did a beautiful family. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You're getting a lot of birthday wishes in the chat as well. So that is
I apologize once again for being late.
You know, we had you as our closer, and we couldn't have asked for anything better. That's our fourth Tuesday forum for the month of March. I hope you can see all the birthday wishes in the
I
chat.
do. My goodness. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Emily. Hi, everybody.
And I want to thank everyone for joining today. Thank you for bearing with us through some of our technical issues. And thank you to our presenters. Each and every one of you shared information and inspiration, and we couldn't thank you more. So I hope you have a great evening, everyone, and take good care.